man, look at this freaking sweet film setup.
残酷な天使のように少年よ神話になる
What's up, guys? Super Godzilla 1974 here, back with another figure review. Today we're going to be reviewing the Toho Kaiju series Godzilla 2000, produced by Bandai. The reason I want to review this figure today, because I think the Yuji Sakai Godzilla, the sculpt, maquette or whatever you call it, the special color version by Tamashi, whatever you want to call it, that gets way more attention than the actual suit nowadays. I feel like people, especially younger collectors, they probably, recognize Yuji Sakai's concept more than the actual suit. And the concept is pretty rad. I like it a lot. But I also like what I saw in the film. And this is what we saw in the film. And I feel like, just my opinion, I think Tamashi should have went with this instead of the Yuji Sakai. Because we already had the Band Presto one. And I think that one basically does it. It's good enough. That's all you need. Alright, let's get started with this review. We're going to actually start with Articulation because it is really, really simple with this figure. A lot of Bandai figures are simple, but this one, it's just, really simple. You've got both of your arms that can move side to side, almost like a swivel. Just like that. They actually don't move the shoulder. Both of the legs move like this. What every Bandai figure can do. And this figure does come with a glue seal, but since I bought mine at G-Fest, sadly, it was broken, so the tail couldn't move if you wanted it to move. A lot of my figures are really stiff because I buy them and then come home, look at them, set them on the shelf. Yeah, a lot of people, move their figures, make movies. I do like to make fan films, but I'm usually not really moving them around, really playing with them. So, after they sit a while, they just kind of get even stiffer. And, so that's why in a lot of my videos, you're not going to see me, doing the 360s with the arms and stuff. And that's because usually when you move a stiff figure, it gets loose, and then your figure, in my opinion, sucks, because I hate loose figures. It's just a small pet peeve. I hate loose figures. Like the Baragon by Bandai, the 1965 Baragon. That one is one of the loosest figures you could get with the vinyl made out of it. At GFA, I've been trying to hunt one down for 2 years without horn damage and without it being loose. I think that's going to be impossible, but at G-Fest, I picked one up. I just shook it, and the legs moved all over the place just by shaking it. I can't do that. I hate loose figures. So let's get back to this figure. So yeah, you get 4 points of articulation that comes standard. If you break the glue seal, you will have 5 points. For you people that like to sit it on the shelf like me, it's a pretty good figure to have. If you're into a lot of the stop motion, and if you really like to pose your figures, yes, this is a great representation of the suit, but you're not going to get a lot of mobility out of it either. Alright, let's move on to this figure's detail. This figure, in my opinion, has some of the best detail that Bandai has to offer. I think it's up there with the ranks of, GMK Ghidorah, and what's another one I can think of at the top of my head? Some of the Tokyo SOS figures, just with detail. You can see where they have all the little spikes and grooves and scales sticking out of the mold, and it really captures the suit well for a Bandai figure. And that goes all the way up the back. It really gets spiky right here towards the spines, which is suit accurate. This suit was really, really, really spiky and edgy looking. He's got his shoulder spikes-ish right here, and all you see is his scales going down his stomach. You have his chest thing, I never know what to call it, right there. He's got his neck spikes sticking out. I always call them spikes, maybe scales sticking out, I don't know. That moves all the way up to the head, and then you have the eyes, which are painted red and not really white, maybe like a bonish white, kind of manila color. Get it? So yeah. And then you have the teeth, which are not individually sculpted. It's actually just one piece of vinyl, but they're painted really, really good. And at a distance, you can't even notice that it's, one piece of vinyl. So that's good. Inside of the mouth, painted red. Parts of the tongue are painted red. And then the rest is just black vinyl. One of the major changes of this suit from the Heisei series to the Millennium was these jagged spikes, dude. Like, I've read, articles from when it came out. I obviously was 1 year old, so I don't remember it, but there was a lot of discussion about these spines. Apparently, I liked them a lot, and a lot of fans nowadays like them. But back then, it was a big change, especially the color. Notice how these are reddish violet instead of, maybe the bone white, silverish kind of color of all the other Godzilla spines. In the film, these were actually a little darker. On the figure, they're a lot lighter, almost like a pinkish, but I actually kind of like it. It helps the figure stand out a little bit more on your shelf instead of having all these dull gray, dull green, brownish figures that kind of blend together. I like things that stand out. One of the reasons why, I jumped on the NECA NES Godzilla, because, that thing stands out. And one problem on this figure with the mold, actually, is this gap right here, but that's because the spines would risk hitting each other and rubbing. It's not as bad as, Space Godzilla, but I can deal with it. The spines go all the way down to the tip of the tail. So that was basically it for detail. Oh, wait, hold on. Sorry, guys. I forgot to mention, claws are just painted, bonish, white, yellowish color. Really, it's just flat, Bandai figure. You don't expect X plus quality with these figures. Alright. So that was it for the detail. Just so I don't forget about it, because I know I probably will, let's just take a look at the tag real quick. It is, it's got the picture of the suit, G16, got the Godzilla licensing sticker. If you live under a rock or something, or if you're just now getting into Godzilla, that does say Godzilla 2099. Open up, you got your Japanese mumbo jumbo. Call us here if your child dies or chokes, or if you have any compliments or something like that. Godzilla 2000 up here. Stuff I wish I could read, but I can't. And then you get the awesome poster on the back. Just for this little inclusion, it's one of the tags that actually really stands out to me the most. A lot of people don't choose favorite tags. It's kind of a weird thing of mine. But this is one of my favorite tags that Bandai's put out. Just this poster, I think it's pretty good. Because a lot of the other ones, it's got like Godzilla on the front and then like nothing on the back until you get to the Movie Monster series that's got that silhouette, and then Godzilla Island series just had a bunch of different characters on both sides. So that's the tag. So now I think we should move on to size comparison, because this figure actually is sculpted larger, or was sculpted larger than, other Godzillas. I think it works well. I think the scaling is pretty good, but a lot of people argue that the memorial box, the way it was sculpted smaller, that was more in scale. And with Orga, it is, if you get the Orga figure, but I think by itself, like if you don't have it next to Orga, you really don't notice how much of a size difference there is. It just looks like another Godzilla figure. Here he is next to the Bandai Gamera, the standard one that came out. Looks pretty good. At least I think it looks good. A lot of people don't think it looks good, but, One thing that really sucks, I was actually bidding on the Gamera Memorial Box, and I lost because I want the figures, and because just a quick thing to say, the eyes in this Gamera figure suck. I think they look really bad, and the Memorial Box Gamera fixed that. So one day if I do get that set, expected review. Here he is next to the Bandai 6-inch Ultraman. I think this actually is bad. And if you've watched Ultraman Chronos reviews, you would know that a lot of the Ultra Monsters, well, it's not really the Ultra Monsters' fault, it's actually the Ultramen's fault. They're actually sculpted pretty high up there. So when you scale them with a lot of your other figures, it looks like Ultraman towers over them. Some people say they should have sculpted the monsters larger, but I think they should have sculpted them a little bit shorter. So I really don't think this matches, because Ultraman does go higher than Godzilla. And if I remember right, I actually have to check out this. They're both 50 meters, I think. Ultraman might be 45. I'm pretty sure he's 50, though. And, of course, we had to compare him with the Yuji Sakai concept design, also known as Tamashii Nation's Godzilla 2000 Millennium Special Color version. I don't think it's the special color version. I'm going to say it's not very special, because I think the first one should have been special color version, because this is actually the color of the maquette. It was supposed to be, it had white spines, not the violet spines. So I think they should have flipped that and had, the violet spines be the special color. That's just me. For size comparison, they work pretty good-ish. I mean, with Tamashii, you're comparing two completely different figures, so they look good next to each other, but like the head sculpt on this thing is freaking huge. It's like he could eat this guy's head off. Yeah, that's basically it for that. Alrighty, that basically sums up my quick review for this figure. I give it a 9 out of 10 because it's got great detail, in my opinion. Good scaling, not bad scaling. I love the film. Suit. It was inspired. The suit was inspired by King Goji, which is in my top 3 favorite Showa suits. So I really dig that. I like how they, took some inspiration from a suit like that, because it was kind of ditched after King Kong vs. Godzilla. I guess you could say it was officially ditched at the end of Godzilla vs. Mothra, or Godzilla vs. the Thing, or Mothra vs. Godzilla, whatever. Because actually, if you didn't know, fun fact, when the Mothra larvae spray Godzilla and he falls off the cliff, that scene where he's actually falling into the water, that was actually the King Goji suit and not the Mosu Goji suit, because they didn't want to really damage it. And they had King Goji suit lying around, so they basically just sprayed it up with web and threw it off the cliff. Yeah, 9 out of 10. I definitely recommend you buy it. Don't go above $40. This figure's not worth any more than that. I think $40 is the maximum you should pay for this. If you're going for the memorial box, be expecting to pay, $50 to hell $100. That figure actually gets pretty pricey. But I guess it's what you want to pay for it. Work hard, play hard, Alright, stay tuned and subscribe for more Super Kaiju content. I think I'm going to use that as my catchphrase. I like that. Please subscribe, drop a like if you want. If you like this kind of stuff, I'm on Instagram, SuperGoji74. I basically just post kaiju stuff, maybe figures of other movies, just merchandise I acquire, etc., etc. So yeah, thanks for watching. Super Goji out. Hey guys, Super Godzilla 1974 here, back with another review. Yeah, because review is totally a freaking word.